اللهم يا من على العرش استوى يا من خلق فسوى وقدر فهدى وأعطى كل شيء خلقه ثم هدى يا من أضحك وأبكى وأمات وأحيا وأسعد وأشقى.
You are listening to Huda recordings.
أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على عبدك ورسولك محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. أما بعد. The Khawarij, this group after killing Ali radiallahu anhu in Kufa, and he was heard in his palace in Kufa, دفن في قصر الإمارة بالكوفة. This was also another big incident in the Muslims' history, that this is the second Khalifa who was killed. The first one was, the third Khalifa who was killed actually. First one was Umar, then after that Uthman, then now Ali radiallahu anhu. And if you notice, Umar radiallahu anhu was killed by one who's non-Muslim, and Uthman was killed by the Muslims, and Ali again killed by some people who are claiming that they are Muslim. After the murdering Ali radiallahu anhu, the Khilafah transferred to Al-Hasan ibn Ali Al-Hasan ibn Ali radiyallahu anhu wa ardah for 6 months. Then he found out that what happened, that after Al-Hasan noticed that the Ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the majority of the Ummah, with Muawiyah radiyallahu anhu wa ardah, he decided to let Muawiyah to be the Khalifa. Let Muawiyah to be the Khalifa. One of the problems that the Muslims had in the history, they thought the Khalifa has to be from Ahl al-Bayt after Ali radiallahu anhu. And this is not right. It's not necessarily to be from Ahl al-Bayt. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam didn't say that Ahl al-Bayt, they are the one who can be Khalifa. He said only a person from Quraysh, from the tribe of Quraysh, he's the one who be a Khalifa. But he didn't specify that only his family. Anyway, in that time, the Shi'ah, who were supporter to Ali radiallahu anhu, he got more extreme toward Ali radiallahu anhu, and after his murder, and also they went to Al-Hasan and they asked him to be a Khalifa. And there is another part of the history which is we don't want to go over it today because it's not our subject. But anyway, Al-Khawaarij is still, in every chance, Al-Khawaarij continue making problems for the Muslims. Whenever they get chance, whenever they gathered, they will come outside and start fighting the Khalifa, start fighting the Muslimin. They will take over cities. Therefore, in the history, you will see a lot that, for example, they will fight, they took over Kufa, then he will say, I'm the Khalifa. And again, I want you to listen carefully to this sign of the Khawarij. He take over the Al-Kufa that he claimed Khilafah. He take over a country, small part of the Muslim Ummah, then he said, I'm the Khalifa for the whole Ummah. He doesn't have any power, any army, any control of any other part. Then he claimed Khilafah. That's a very wrong way of understanding the meaning of Khilafah. You cannot be, for example, exist in one city, then you said, I'm the Khalifa for all the Muslims. As we hear these days also, somebody said, I'm the Khalifa for all Muslims, and he's like in one city, or he is there are so many these days. There are so many. And I remember one group I had like a talk with them. They believe that they have Khalifa, he living in London. They believe that he is the Khalifa of all Muslims. And they believe in that, and they were a group of people who used to be in Afghanistan and Pakistan and Peshawar. That's a long time ago. And this is one of the ideas they adopt over there. They said he claimed Khilafah, he's the Khalifa. You see in Egypt also this kind of ideas happen. You see also these days, like when some people said, oh, Osama ibn Laden is the Khalifa for all the Muslims, all the world. This kind of mentality or this kind of understanding the Khilafah, it's a wrong way. Because the Khalifa is not, the Khalifa, if you want to claim Khilafah for all Muslims, that means you have control all over these countries. And the problem, they don't say we are the Khalifa of, or the Imam of the Muslims in this particular town. No, he said, I'm the Imam for all Muslims all over the world. That's the way, the misunderstanding of the concept of Khilafah also, for the Khawaarij, and this is all time, this is the way they view the Khawaarij. View the concept of Khilafah. Anyway, every time those group of people, they will find a chance, they will go against the Muslims and they will fight them. And one of the worst leaders they ever had, and he was so aggressive against the Muslims, and he had a different sect. And Al-Khawarij itself, there are so many sects come out of it. One of them is called Al-Azariqah, because there is a man, his name Nafi' ibn al-Azraq. Nafi' ibn al-Azraq, and he was killed 64 Hijri. This person, he has no mercy in his heart for Muslims. Whenever he ordered his follower in the fight to kill women, old people, children, no one can be survived if they enter a place. They were a very different, mixed group. And they have no place for Sunnah in their beliefs. Therefore, one of their groups, when they took over Al-Kufa once, and this is the first time in the Muslims' history, the leader was murdered in the battle. To show you the ideas of those people, when that person was murdered, his wife took the leadership. And she led the fight. And she was so brave. See how much they are excited about the idea. And she entered Al-Kufa, and she gave khutbah al-Jumu'ah in Al-Kufa. Her name is Layla. And she was the first and the only woman Muslims knew in the, as the Shahristani said, to be imam or delivering khutbah al-Jumu'ah and to lead. MashaAllah, she's a man, she led all this fight. She's not anymore a woman. Anyway, these fights, one of the big reasons that the Umayyad's Khilafah became weak and Abbas's Khilafah became weak. Because the Khilafah, when they fight the enemies outside, they always have to go back to fight these Khawarij. Whenever they found the Khilafah is busy with the Kuffar, they will gather and they will start taking over some cities and separating it from the Khilafah. That makes the Ummah weak. And this is all the history you can see. Several, maybe hundreds of times during few centuries, you can tell how many times they took over cities, 10 years, 2 years, 3 years, sometimes months, sometimes more than that, and they separated this part from the Ummah. Anyway, they have so many different sects, as I told you. But I will only mention one sect, which exists from long time ago and still exists until today. And this sect has established Khilafah by itself, established a state by itself, established a state, and they have a system, and they have a state supporting them until today. It is called Al-Ibadiyah. 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 Which is today represented by Oman in Gulf. Oman in the Gulf. This is the state belief. Like the Grand Mufti there, he's Ibadi. This is the belief of this country. Al-Ibadiyah. Anyway, Al-Ibadiyah been called Al-Ibadiyah. It's one of the sects of Al-Khawarij, but maybe it is the lenient sect in Khawarij. It is the most lenient sect among the Khawarij. So it's a branch of Al-Khawarij. This Al-Ibadiyah been called Al-Ibadiyah because the one who established it, his name is Abdullah ibn Ibad. Abdullah ibn Ibad al-Tamimi. He lived in the time of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu and Ibn Zubair. And he died during the time of Abdul Malik ibn Marwan in Bani Umayyah. And there is a lot of talk about this person, when he died exactly, where he lived. And he is well known as a person who always stand against the rulers and the hukam. And he was a very brave person in general. And there's a lot of talk, we don't need to go over that. But anyway, this group not been recognized as a group called Al-Ibadiyah until the 3rd century. The 3rd century was the first time to be recognized as Al-Ibadiyah. As a movement, they have ideologies. They separated themselves from the Ummah. They used to call themselves Jama'atul Muslimin. They used to call themselves Ahlul Da'wah. They used to call themselves Ahlul Istiqamah. As Ibn Khalfoun min ulama'ihim said that. Anyway, the scholars agree that it is one branch of Al-Khawarij. But some of the Ibadiyah themselves, they said, no, we are not belong to the Khawarij. Because they know how bad history Al-Khawarij had, so they don't want to belong to them. But the scholars who talk about sects, they always said they belong to the Khawarij. And that's true because the same ideologies, as you will see. Al-Ibadiyah had two states. They established 2 khilaf in the Muslim world. After the fitna, after what happened after Ali radiallahu anhu and Muawiyah, he became the leader. Some of these Khawarij, who they said 9, one of them or some of them, whoever left from that battle after Ali radiallahu anhu killed them in the day of Nahrawan, they ran away all the way down southeast of the Arab Peninsula, where is Oman today. Oman is a country, it has a lot of mountains. And to go to it, you have to cross the desert, Rub' al-Khali, the empty quarter. The quarter of the Arabian Peninsula is desert. It is all the way there. It's a very far away, and it's very hard to get there. And it has a lot of mountains next to the Arab Gulf and the Indian Ocean over there, whereas the Indian Ocean meet with the Arab Gulf. Anyway, those people went to Oman. They went to Oman. Whoever left from that battle with Ali radiallahu anh after he killed most of them, and they start calling people for the idea of the Khawarij, telling them this Khilafah is this, the Khalifa did that. And some scholars said even Abdullah ibn Ibad himself, he moved there and he lived there. Anyway, they became very strong over there until they decide to announce they have their own Khilafah. And this was in the beginning when the Umayyad Khilafah collapsed and the Abbasi's Khilafah start. You know, when there is something collapse and something new start, this period of time is an area which is, if you have something, you can come up with it. Because there's nobody watching you. Yeah, vacuum, that's true. So they came up in that time. And they said, we're having our own Khilafah in Oman. And they refused the Khalifa al-Abbasi, what his name is Saffah. And they were mistaken, because Saffah, you know what Saffah means? It means the killer. So that's what they call him, a Saffah, because he kills a lot. He kills whoever he doesn't like. Anyway, when they said that, al-Mansur, and they give one of their people the bay'ah, his name Al-Jalandi ibn Mas'ud al-Azdi. But 177, Safah sent to them an army, he wiped them. He killed them. But 177, he killed them. 179, they reorganized themselves again. How many years? 3 years only. And they came back and they started their Khilafah and they became the ruler of Oman until the British entered Oman. From 179 all the way until the British take over the Gulf. The British, they are the one who take over their country. That whole time, they used to be settled there. And after the British left, the father of this Sultan, the Sultan of Oman, the president of Oman today, Qaboos, his father used to be the king of Oman, but his son, which is now, he killed his father, then he took over the country, the one we have now. He killed his father, then he took over the country. And he tried to play the same game. He said, I'm not Ibadi, I'm not Sunni. And he said, I marry one wife Sunni, one wife Ibadi, to make everybody happy. But in reality, if you look to that country, the Grand Mufti of the country, the Islamic system of the country, based on the Grand Mufti there, his name is Mufti Oman al-Khalili. I think his first name is Ahmed al-Khalili. He's the Grand Mufti of Oman now. He is Ibadi, and he has books to call clearly for his belief. And I remember he asked Sheikh bin Baz for a debate on TV. And Sheikh bin Baz said, there is no debate, there is only repentance. You should repent to Allah. There is no need for debate. You know what is the truth. Rahimahullah ta'ala. And he asked for a debate inside the haram with the media. He would try to spread the word Ibadi, because most of the Muslims didn't know that. So Shaykh bin Baz, alhamdulillah, he knew this old tricks. So he said, there is no debate. Just repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's good for you. Anyway, they're also giving a very hard time for the Sunni and the people who are following the way of the Prophet ﷺ companion. Especially, we have a lot of friends and brothers who graduate from Medina, who graduated from Imam University. He went back home to Oman. They suffered a lot. And like a few years ago, they collect all these students from Medina and they put them in jail. They having a big fitna over there for Ahlul Sunnah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy on them. And many people, they don't know this fact. Anyway, another group of them, what they did, they went to another part of Muslim world. They went to Libya. And they still exist until today also in Libya. They took over Tripoli, and they spread their powerful over Libya and Tunis. They reached all the way there, Tunisian, and they were very strong over there. And they had a state or two states in the north of Africa, one is called As-Safariyah and another one called Al-Rustumiyah. Ibadiyin, they are the one who start their state with giving bay'ah to a person, his name Abdul Rahman ibn Rustum, and he became Khalifa in 160. And his term collapsed 296. His Khilafah collapsed 296. That means they became Khalifa how many years? From 160 to 296. 136 years they ruled Libya and this place. 136 years. They had a state called Al-Rustumiyah. Who killed them? Who wiped them? The Shi'ah. Their most enemy. Because they are totally against them. Which is Al-Ubaydiyin. They came and they destroyed them and they take over north of Africa 297. Anyway, Al-Ibadiyya, they are different from the Khawarij in a sense. Al-Ibadiyya said, we do not believe that other than us are kuffar. You remember Khawaarij said, whoever doesn't believe in what we believe, he is non-Muslim. Al-Ibadiyya said, no. Even if you don't agree with us, you're still Muslim. You're still Muslim. And they said, we are different than Khawarij, because Khawarij said, we are not allowed to give our daughters or our women to other than us. But Al-Ibadiyya said, no problem if Sunni married Ibadi woman. And for sure, the opposite also. Ibadi can marry Muslims, a Sunni woman. They said, in the history, whenever there is fight, they never kill the children. They never kill older people. They don't kill civilian. Not like Al-Azariqah, this Nafi' ibn al-Azraq, or other Khawarij. They kill everybody. He is a warrior, he's a soldier, he's not soldier, woman, child, everybody killed. And to know this exists in the history. So when we read, for instance, about some groups in Algeria today, not necessarily all of them does this, but some groups who claim that they are Muslims, you see when they kill children, murder women, murder everybody, don't say, I can't believe there is Muslim can do that. No, there is some Muslims did that in the past, and they might still can do this in present too. Anyway, because they believe all this kuffar, and this will raise their station in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's in Jannah. Now, Al-Khawarij and Al-Ibadiyya, all of them as Al-Khawarij, they have a lot of respect for Abu Bakr and Umar. But they believe Uthman and Ali are kuffar, and the rest of the Sahaba. The same thing Al-Ibadiyya did. Al-Ibadiyya, they curse Uthman, they made takfir to Uthman. The same thing for Ali radiallahu anhu. Even though lie at As-Sahaba, they said that the Sahaba cursed Uthman, the Sahaba cursed Ali, and they said that the Sahaba praised those people who killed Uthman, and this is totally lie. As one of their leader, one of their scholars has a book called Kashf al-Ghumma, he said that. But Uthman radiallahu anhu is free of that. Radiallahu anhu Uthman يعني الذي كان يصوم النهار يعني ويقوم الليل, fast in the night, fast in the days and prays in the night. Ali also, they said he is kafir and he's bad. And Hafs ibn Abi al-Miqdam, one of the Ibadi scholars, he said that clearly in his book, as he told you, Kashf al-Ghumma. What they believe, what al-Ibadiyya believe now, the Ibadis, what they believe. First, they said Allah does not have any attributes. Yani Allah has no mercy, He doesn't love anyone, He doesn't talk, He doesn't come, He will not come in the day of judgment. He doesn't have any attributes. Knowledge, no. Life, no. Type, mercy, no. Anger, no. He has hands, no. Any attribute came in the Quran, Sunnah, no. They said, He is only one. He doesn't have anything than Himself. But there is no attributes. And they were so confused in this matter. They said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is not above His throne. Against the Quran totally. He is not above the heavens. Where He is, they don't know. Yani if you reach to the end, they don't give an answer. They said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nobody will see Him in the day of judgment. Or in the hereafter on Jannah. Nobody sees Allah. At all. And whoever believes that, he is kafir. Yani it's a big issue for them. Also they said, Al-Quran is not Allah's word. It's not Allah's words. Al-Quran, one of Allah's creation. One of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation. And a lot of them, so many of their scholars said, they reject the punishment of grave. they said there is no punishment in graves because it's not in the Quran as they claim, but in fact it is in the Quran, several verses. But anyway, they said it's not in the Quran, so we don't believe in it. They don't believe that there is intercession for those people who did major sins. Nobody will make intercession for them. And they said there is no scale in the Day of Judgment. We believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put a scale to weight every person's deeds. They said there is no scale. And all this scale has two sides, all this not acceptable. It's not part of their belief. And they said nothing will be weighted. There is no records, there is nothing. لا صحائف ولا ميزان ينصب. They said there is no such thing that called as-sirat in the Day of Judgment. There is no such thing called path above Jahannam. They reject that totally because they said it's not in the Quran. Remember, I told you they don't believe in Sunnah. Also, they said they have an issue different than Khawarij, the rest of the Khawarij. Al-Ibadiyya believe that Iman increase and decrease. And this is different. All Khawarij don't believe in that, but Ibadi do. And this is what Ahl Sunnah also believe. Some of them said it increased, but it never decreased. Anyway, as I told you today in Oman, this madhab, this opinion is the most popular opinion there. And this guy, Al-Khalili, Mufti Oman, the Grand Mufti of Oman, he has a book, it's called Al-Haqq Al-Damigh. And I remember I read it a long time ago. He sent his follower, even remember in Ramadan, they used to handle copies like in secret in Mecca. And I remember I read one of them. And this book basically based on 3 points. He was trying to prove that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's Al-Quran is not Allah's words. Al-Quran is one of Allah's creation. Allah, nobody can see him in the Day of Judgment. And Allah is not above his throne, above his creation. This is the Ibadi. Going back to Al-Khawarij in general, just to end with this very quickly. Al-Khawarij believe, all the Khawarij. I mentioned Al-Ibadi in details because they are existent today. And before I mention the beliefs of the Khawarij, I forgot to mention. Since the Ibadi exist in Oman such long time, it's from like 2nd or 3rd century of Islam, they are there. The people there, they really don't realize that they belong to a sect. Therefore, most of the people has no knowledge in Oman. They said, we Ibadi, but we don't know what Ibadi is. Yani, Ibadis as ideas as in books, different than Ibadis in the streets in Oman. In the streets, people walking in the streets, they don't believe in most of these things. Yani, but still it's a very dangerous, because they said we belong to these beliefs. And so many of their scholars and whoever student of knowledge they have, they believe in these details and these kind of kufr a'udhu billah or evil beliefs. Al-Khawarij in general, they believe that whoever committed a major sin, he is kafir. Whoever committed major sin, he is kafir. Therefore, they said, when you narrate a hadith, you sure that the one from Khawarij, he will never lie. Because lies is kufr for them. Ibadi, they said, no, he is not kafir. Ibadi said he is not kafir. Kufr millah, they call him kufr ni'mah. They have some argument about this, which is we don't need to go over it. And all the Khawarij believe that when the rulers start committing sins or doing wrongs, they have to fight him with sword. Al-amr bil-ma'ruf wa nahy al-munkar. They have to go and fight him. And they are justified for them to kill him, his supporter, his armies, and anyone with him or standing beside him. Also, they believe that Imam cannot be a sinner. He has to be a righteous person. Cannot make any sin. Therefore, the Imam in their mind, like a person's, his head inside the lion's mouth. So any time he can close. So the imam, their imams even, is like this. Because any sin, any one of them said, it's sin, khalas, they kill him. In some position of the imam, okay, this person said, it's a sin, khalas, kill him. The totally opposite, the Shi'ah. The Shi'ah, the imam, if he does kufr, no problem. Whatever the imam does, the Shi'ah said, nobody can talk. Nobody can say anything. 180 degrees. Anyway, also they said, the imam cannot be a person who commit even sin in the past. Like major sin in the past, and he repent, cannot be imam. حتى لو تاب يقولون. He has to be a great fighter, brave man. They said, not necessarily that the Khalifa has to be from Quraysh. Can be from anybody. Ahl Sunnah said the Khalifa, for all Muslims, has to be from Quraysh. And he is not from Quraysh, still acceptable. But he has to be from Quraysh, as the Prophet ﷺ said. To see how much those people love to say word kufr. One of the signs of the Khawaarij, they love to make takfir. This is kafir. This is their main ideas. To the extent they said, استدلوا على كفر الرعية بكفر الراعي. They said, we will say that the citizen of any country, if their leaders became kafir, all of them became kafir too. It's connections. How is that? They said, because if he became kafir, and they is still to be member of his country, that means they agree that he is a leader, and if you agree the leader is kafir, you became kafir, so everybody is kafir. That's ideas remind me of something happened not long time ago in Saudi Arabia, when a movement of people decided to take over Mecca and Al-Medina. It's called Al-Juhayman in 14 Hijri, which is 1980. They enter Mecca, they locked the doors, they said, we have Al-Mahdi, and their main idea wasn't the Mahdi or anything. They just to take over the country. And they tried to take over Medina, but they didn't succeed. In Riyadh, they didn't succeed. In the eastern side of Saudi Arabia, but they catch them. All of it fails except this one in Mecca. One of the ideas they used to spread, and I remember that, in the communities, before they did that, I remember what they used to tell in the massages and their meetings. And I was very, I didn't realize this until I grew up. They used to say in the masajid, if the king did this such and such, all of us sinner like him. Why? Because we holding the citizenship. For example, if the king shake hands with the Queen of British, so all of us, we take the responsibility as if we shake hands with the Queen of England. Wallahi, I remember this example exactly. And they said if he accept the United Nations to be part of United Nations is kufr, he accept to be part of kufr, and you accept to be part of another kufr, which is the state, so we are all kuffar. So we have to announce that we are against. It's the same logic. All days they said if the hakim cover everybody, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah azza jalla yuhammilu wa'zirata wizra ukhra. I don't take the sin of your sin. I'm not responsible for your sin. So they make this connection to make takfir for all people. It's a very dangerous way of thinking. And also you see in these days, the groups of takfir and al-hijrah, they love the word kafir. Wallahi brothers, one of them told me once. He said, Waleed, Wallahi al-azim, he said, I used to go to Mecca. And when I'm coming out of the door in Ramadan, hundreds, thousands of people coming out with you. If you see that picture of Ramadan, 3 million people, 2 million people go to the masjid to pray in 27th. In the last 10 days, he said, I used to walk and I feel I'm the only Muslims walking. Wallahi, this is his word to me. And they said, there is 2 of these from Jama'at al-Takfir, from the group of Takfir. They start the ideas in one country. They made takfir to everyone to the extent once they have a dispute between them, then he said to his friend, you are kafir. They are started together. Then he said, if I am kafir and you have not made takfir for me all these days, so you are kafir too. So it ends up both of them kuffar. So to that extent, يعني it is كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يتجارى بهم كالكلب يعني لا يترك شيء. It is a disease. Whenever it spreads, it doesn't finish. It doesn't stop. This thought, oh, this ruler is kafir. طيب. His ministries, kuffar. His secretaries, so kuffar. His guards, kuffar. His army, kuffar. His governors, kuffar. The people who work in his palace, kuffar. We work for the government, kuffar. Khalas, it's a very dangerous. This is the nature of the Khawaarij, not the nature of Ahl Sunnah. Ahl Sunnah, very rare to find the Imam Ahmad when he said kafir. يعني شوف المأمون, with all of this kufr he did, Imam Ahmad, he didn't say he's kafir. He didn't announce clearly that he's kafir. With all of he did, المأمون Shi'i, يعني a lot of things he did. But Imam had sometimes, like when he had the debate with Ahmad bin Abi Du'ad, he said like this man is kafir. قال أما هذا فقد كفر. خلاص. And we have another extreme. People said you cannot make takfir to anyone. No, there's another extreme. People, if he committed kufr, he became kafir. إذا ثبتت الشروط وانتفت الموانع. If he met the conditions of takfir, he became kafir. But who did this? The scholars. But the nature of Khawarij, they love this word takfir. Also, as I told you, Khawarij, they have issues in their books. They said, what is the rules related to the Sunnis' children? They discussed this as a problem. Some of them said they are like their father's kuffar and they should be killed with them. Some of them, no. They will be our servant in Jannah. We don't kill them. Some of them said Allah knows what they are going to do. Yani what they're going to be. But Ibadiyya said no, they are believers. Mu'mineen. One of those their positions, they made takfir to majority of the Sahaba. Takfir for the majority of Sahaba, Uthman and Ali and whoever after them. Also they reject the Sunnah. They reject the Sunnah, following the steps of the Khuwaisir al-Yamani. When he said, Ya Rasulullah, i'dil, he rejected the Prophet ﷺ judgment. And therefore, you see, they, as I told you before, some of the Khawarij used to pray only 3 times a day. You see, this is the Quran. And they said the woman has to fast and to pray while she has her period. They said because there is no such evidence in Quran. And so many things. As-Suyuti rahimahullah mentioned that, and he said that about them. What this group also today we have a certain groups. It's called Jama'at al-Takfir. It's called Jama'at al-Takfir, and also Jama'at al-Jihad, Jama'at al-Hijrah, Jama'at al-Tawaqquf. All these are branches to al-Khawarij. They are branches, and they have a lot of beliefs and ideologies. They are common with al-Khawarij, common beliefs and common ideologies between them and al-Khawarij. And Jama'at al-Takfir started in Egypt, in jail. And it is a reaction toward hatred toward the communities or toward the Muslims. And in another, some of the scholars, when they study the history behind Takfir, it was supported by the Egyptian government in the beginning. The Egyptian government, and it mainly Shukri and his groups, they've been at least giving a green light by the government. So they came out and they killed the Sheikh al-Azhar at that time, al-Dhahabi, and it was a big fitna in Egypt to make problem between the scholars and the youth and the shabab and the du'at. And it really was very effective, the da'wah in Egypt. Also, they were the Jama'at al-Jihad, to start with Mustafa Shukri, that person who was in jail, and he believes that him and a couple of hundred with him in jail, they are the only Muslims, and the rest of the whole ummah is kuffar. Sometimes people feed these ideas, supported these ideas indirect way. And for sure, one of the people who had a big role in this, even though he doesn't believe in that, Sayyid Qutb rahimahullah ta'ala. Sayyid Qutb also, his books had a lot of connections with these groups these days. Not because he believes like them, but at least some of his writing, he used words and general statements such as the ignorant societies, al-jahiliyin. All these societies are ignorant. They are like the kuffar. Sometimes it's the words, people misquoted that. And whoever read a lot, like in the Quran and other books, he get this nature of hatred toward the communities. Hatred toward everybody else outside. Especially if you know that Sayyid Qutb rahimahullah, even though he wrote good things in his books, but also he wrote things was very dangerous in da'wah in these days. And one of the problems that Sayyid rahimahullah, when he became religious, he wasn't religious at all. When he came to America, he came back as a religious person. Most of his life, he spent it in jail. Most of his life, he spent in jail. Maybe he spent outside of jail around 2 years. 2 years and 6 months. But the rest of his life in jail. And whatever before that, not religious at all. So, when you live in jail that long time, in, out, the nature of your writing, the feeling toward others, it's full of anger, frustrations. This nobody can claim that he cannot free himself from that. Anyway, I will end with this related to Al-Khawarij as a group, and I will talk about the Shi'ah, whatever we can cover today, and tomorrow, inshallah, we'll continue with the Shi'ah. طيب. Let's start with Shi'ah. Now, at least go over this. Shi'ah, what Shi'ah means? Shi'ah means in Arabic language, the supporter. Shi'at al-Rajul Ansaruh, the supporter, the follower. Everybody, any group of people gather around somebody, they've been called Shi'ah. Whoever pray here, he is Shi'ah. Shi'ah for Sheikh Khalid. In Arabic language only. طيب. تنجيك قصدك إمام الشيخ بعدين. طيب, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used this word Shi'ah in the Quran. ثم لننزعن من كل شيعة أيهم أشد على الرحمن عتيا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, He will take from them the worst group of them. And فوجد فيها رجلان يقتتلان هذا من شيعته وهذا من عدوه. Musa, he found one of his followers fighting with one of the pharaohs. إن الذين فرقوا دينهم وكانوا شيعا فرقا متناحرة. طيب, what do we mean by Shi'ah as a group? Shi'ah is a title been given for those people who said Ali is better than all other Sahaba, and Ali and his family, they are the one who deserve to be Khalifas. And whoever became Khalifa and he is not from them, he is liar. He is a transgressor, zalim. his Khilafah is not acceptable. Better than that, we said Shi'ah, the title this been given to the definition of Shi'ah, which is I choose. Whoever believes that Khilafah, Imam, leadership for Muslims, it is by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. They said the leadership for Muslims been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly. And they believe in that. And they said nobody can be leadership for Muslims if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not choose him to be the Imam or choose him to be the leaders. This is the pillar of the foundations or the principle of all kind of Shi'ah. Every Shi'i exists in the whole world believe that the leadership only can be taken or been given by Allah directly. Nobody, you cannot, they have no democracy. You can elect your Khalifa. Khalifa cannot be elected. It's only from Allah. Allah said, the Khalifa, after the Prophet ﷺ, until the Day of Judgment is this and this and this and this. Cannot have any existence, state or Amir, unless this Amir, one of these Imams that Allah mentioned their names. This is their ideologies. And this is the principle of their belief. And also, all Shi'ah, every single Shi'i Allah created, and He will create it. Every single Shi'i, he believes in Shi'ah, he hates Sahaba. He cursed the Sahaba. It is the pillar of the religion. In Houston, we have a movement of Shi'ah. We have one brother, he's Ethiopian. His brother became Shi'i. Was undecided. Shi'i, not Shi'i. So his brothers always ask me what I should tell him. Anyway, his brother, khalas, went in the night and he announced in their place of worship that he became Shi'i. This brother telling me, he said, I met my brother in the morning. Then I saw him, I was going to Fajr, he was going to work. I told him, khalas, you became Shi'i? This brother telling me what he said. His brother, the one who became Shi'i, you know what he said? He said, I'm not going to say his word, he cursed Abu Bakr and Umar and Aisha. Wallahi, the first thing he said after he became Shi'i, before Assalamu alaikum, the first, what this religion, you, in the night you became Shi'i, after Fajr you curse Abu Bakr and Umar? That means what's the first step you learn? To hate Abu Bakr and Umar and the Sahaba, the Prophet ﷺ companions. طيب. Therefore, كثير عزة لا كثره الله said, برئت إلى الإله من ابن أروى ومن دين الخوارج أجمعين. He said, I free myself from the religion of Ibn Arwa. Who is Ibn Arwa? Abu Bakr. His name is Arwa. If you have a daughter, Arwa. ومن دين الخوارج أجمعين. Religion of all the Khawarij. ومن عمر برئت. Umar al-Khattab, I free myself from him. ومن عتيق عثمان غداة دعي أمير المؤمنين. دعي أمير المؤمنين. The Shi'ah, I free myself from Umar and from Uthman whenever they pronounced as Amir al-Mu'mineen. Because they are transgressors and they are kuffar whenever they took the Khilafah from Ali radiallahu anhu. This person said, Kuthayr Azza. Shi'ah believes that they start their movement in the Prophet ﷺ time. And the first one who called for Shi'ah was the Prophet himself. They said that. Because the Prophet ﷺ said in Ghadir Khum, he said, whoever supporting me, he should be supportive to Ali radiallahu anhu. And he said, Salman minna al bayt. Salman from us, the family of the Prophet ﷺ. And they have a hadith, it's fabricated hadith. He pointed to Ali and he said, this man and his supporter and his follower are the successors. So these ahadith shows that the Prophet ﷺ called people to be Shi'ah. So I don't know why he didn't say it clearly, if this is the case. And they said no. Shi'as as a group appear when Muawiyah, when Ali radiallahu anh fought against Az-Zubair and Talha, because they became supporter for Ali against his enemy. But again, in that time, they were not Shi'ah in the definition we just said, with not a group, it's just a supporter. Some of the people who fought with Ali, the Shi'ah themselves believe they are kuffar. Yani, Shi'ah believes some of those people who fought with Ali were in the Ali's armies. The Shi'ah believe they are the kuffar. So it's impossible to call them Shi'ah. Also they said, and the Shi'ah start after murdering Ali radiallahu anhu, or after the fight between Ali and Muawiyah, or after murdering Al-Hussein. But in fact, as I told you before, the sect, it doesn't start like this. It has steps. Shi'as as an idea start after murdering Umar ibn al-Khattab, as whispering, who will be the Khalifa? Should be one from the Prophet ﷺ family. It was a whisper between the people as an ideas. And whenever those people gathered against Uthman, they have a big role, the Shi'ah, as an ideas, starting. Uthman doesn't deserve it. Ali, he was the one who should be the Khalifa. If we give it to Ali, this is not going to happen. So as an idea, start growing. Then, after that, they announce this as an idea after murdering Uthman radiallahu anhu. And after the fitna, the people who has this idea, they became supporter to Ali more. Behind Ali, behind Ali's back, and they start spreading this idea. Therefore, you see in Sahih al-Bukhari, Ali radiallahu anhu said, and his statement tells us that there is something we're going on. Ali said, the best among us, Abu Bakr, then Umar, then Uthman. When you said this statement, you know that there is something we're going on in the community in that time. Let Uthman, let Ali to say that and to announce it clearly that he believes that Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman were better than him, radiallahu anhum ajma'een. So, in that time, for the first time, this idea came that there is Ali and his family better than anybody else. Ali deserved the khilafah. Grows to the extent it became more dangerous. They said Ali better than Abu Bakr and Umar. Then after better than Abu Bakr and Umar, they said Ali, and this was Ibn Saba al-Yahudi, Abdullah ibn Saba al-Yahudi. He said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself entered Ali's body. Yani Ali's body occupied by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or part of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Ali. Whenever they said that, Ali radiallahu anhu said, لما رأيت الأمر أمرا منكرا الله يكرمك شيخ أججت ناري ودعوت قنبرا. When I have seen something so evil, I put a big fire and I told Qumbur, his slave, and his guard, I call him, come with the sword. And he start burning everybody saying that Ali is God. He start burning them in fire. What they did, they said, this is the proof that he is the God. Because God is the only one punished with hellfire, with fire. Ibn Abbas told him the Prophet ﷺ forbade, or said it's forbidden for somebody to kill somebody with fire. So Ali stopped killing them in fire and burning them. What Ali radiallahu anhu did after that, he executed them, killing them. Anybody said that. Anyway, he had Abdullah ibn Saba. He captured him. There is so many different narrations, but the one I'm going to tell you is the one I choose. That he captured them, and there is a debate happened between him and Ibn Saba. And they said Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh, his idea was not to kill them all, but for some reasons, Ali radiallahu anhu, he didn't kill Abdullah ibn Saba. This one, he just asked him to move to a city called Al-Madain, toward Al-Iraq. Ali that time was in Kufa. Now, طيب, Abdullah ibn Saba, this Abdullah ibn Saba al-Yahudi, he's from Yemen, from Sana'a. He used to travel between Egypt and Iraq and Hijaz and all in Medina and Kufa, Basra, to encourage people to stand for against Uthman radiallahu anhu. He starts saying that there is wasi for each Nabi. Any prophet, he has chosen somebody to take the responsibility of the ummah after him. And this one was Ali. Anyway, it seems like he was very smart. He will not let anything come from him directly. Therefore, when Ali catch him, he couldn't prove anything really against him. And he ordered him to move to a city called Al-Madain in Iraq. واكتفى بنفيه إلى المدائن. Because we don't think that if he said what he said about Ali, that he is God, Ali will let him go with it. We believe he will never let him go with it, as some of the mu'arrikhin said. Anyway, after Ali died, he started saying this things that he is God. Even when they told him Ali was murdered today, he was so angry. And he said, this is lie. The body you saw is not the body of Ali. This is the body of Shaitan. He took the shape of Ali, and he did that only to see your iman, your faith, Ali. The God, He just did that to see what is your faith, what is your reaction. But in fact, it is not Ali. And he said, Ali is coming back. He disappeared. He went to the heavens, and he's coming back to see. And he said, Ali in the heavens. Ali in the heavens. Then he said, the thunder is his, what? No. The thunder is his voice. And the lights, the likeness, and the likeness is, the lightning. The lightning is his smile. And the clouds is his rider. He rides the clouds. Therefore, they used to say whenever they see a cloud, they said, they mentioned Ali radiallahu anhu. And he said, Wallahi, if you bring to me his head, his brain, I would never believe that this is Ali. He will not ever die until he will roll all the earth and heavens. It's gonna belong to him. And he said that Ali will come back, and he will come back to the Masjid of Kufa, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring for him two rivers running underneath of him. One of them from honey, and another one is sam, which is like butter, or like the butter or the fat. And you will be eating the butter with honey from the rivers, which is Allah will give him only for his Shi'ah. So these ideas, it's a new. And this guy, he is just a person who claimed that he is a Muslim. Some of the people who wrote about the Muslim history among the Western, they deny that there is any such person called Abdullah ibn Saba. Even the Shi'ah, they refuse this personality. They said it's not exist. To free themselves, that their roots go back to this. They want to take it out from the history. And they cannot, because it exists in their books and in our books and exists in the history. Anyway, his name also Ibn Sawda, one of his name. Some people mixed between him and Abdullah ibn Wahb al-Rasibi. Abdullah ibn al-Rasibi is the leader of the Khawarij who fought against Ali. So it cannot be the same person. In that time, it was very dangerous. These ideas, because they got with an ideas extreme that Ali is part of God or is God. From this part, there is a whole bunch of group from Shi'ah held to these ideas. which is called them Al-Alawiyin, who is now in Syria. Who is in Syria, like the governor in Syria, he is Alawi from this sect. They believe Ali is God, which is Al-Asad. Hafiz al-Asad and these people, they believe that Ali is, a'udhu billah, Allah, Al-Alawiyin. Anyway, from this idea which has came with Ibn Saba, these groups came. A lot of groups from Alawiyin and Batiniyin, they adopt this. But the rest of the Shi'ah, they didn't say Allah is Ali, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself entered Ali's body, but they dealt with Ali like God, as you will see very soon. They give Ali the status of lordship and status of worship. You will see that Tashayyu' Shi'ah as an idea start as loving to Ali. But when you love somebody too much, extreme love lead you to this kind of bid'ah. And they start as supporters for him against whoever fight him. Then it became supporter for him against anybody else. He fought him or not. Start by an idea of he is better. Then it ends by he is better and they are kuffar, the others than him. Other than him. They start to saying takfir, not only to Uthman, it's go back to Umar and Ali radiallahu anhu. They said all the Sahaba kuffar. All the Prophets and companions became kuffar. Especially whoever lived after the Prophet ﷺ. When Abu Bakr been giving bay'ah by the majority of Sahaba, everybody give the bay'ah to Abu Bakr or accept it, he is kafir. They said we only have exceptions for few of them, such as Salman al-Farisi, al-Miqdad, Ammar, Abu Dharr, Hudayfa, 7, 6, 10, a difference between one group to another. The extreme go farther step to say Ali is God, a'udhu billah, and to say that the Imams after Ali are Imams who cannot be in any way doing any mistakes. The idea of what? Ma'soom, which is infallibility. طيب. There is something, the nature of all the sects, or all Ahlul Ahwa, the people of desires. It start one group. All of a sudden you have 100 groups. And one group divide to several. This is the nature of all sects. Shi'ah is very weird. So many sects. I never seen something similar to Shi'ah like the Christianity. So many sects in Christianity, the same thing in Shi'ah. And that, the same thing is, every sect in Shi'ah make takfir to another sect. Every sect among the Shi'ah, they don't recognize the other sect which is Shi'ah too. And this all of them like that. حتى قال الألوسي أنها تنقسم إلى 70 فرقة. Al-Alusi said it is so. He said I tried to see how many sects been divided to 70 sects. 70 sects. And some of them said no, it's less than that. 5, 7, there is different opinion. Why is that? Because the concept of tashayyu', love, is different. Some of them very extreme, some of them not that extreme, has kind of in the middle. Also, because what is the things gather all of them? What's the principle which is common between all these 76 or whatever their names, their numbers? No, they believe that Allah, He is the one who decided who is the leader. And He revealed that. This concept divided them. How is that? Ali radiallahu anhu died. Has how many sons? Hassan, Hussein. They said, first of all, there is some group said the Imam can be Al-Hassan. Some said no, Hussein. So this is the first division. Al-Hussein, he had sons. Which one of them is the Imam? Another division. Another division. For example, they were going okay until they reached to Ja'far al-Sadiq. Ja'far had two sons, Musa and Ismail. Group of Shi'ah accept Musa al-Kadhim as the Imam, and this is the Shi'ah, which is Iran, and you see today the Rafidah. Other group choose Ismail, which is the Ismailis today. The Ismaili and the Agha Khan, others, Ismailis groups, they choose another son of Ja'far. See, so divide. And so on. Yani sometimes he has cousins. Sometimes this will get to his cousin, not to his son or to brother, and so on. This is one of the big problem they had. One of the big problem they had. And even Ismail, and by the way, Ismail, they choose Ismail. Ismail, he had a son, his name Muhammad. Has a son, his name Muhammad. Muhammad died before his father. Some group said it has to go to his son. But how his son died before him? What the solution? You know? And Ismail, the Imam has to go to his son. But his son died before he dies, and he doesn't have a son. God, what they said? They said, no, his son is not, he didn't die. His son, he disappeared and he coming back in future. So we're waiting for him to seize the Mahdi. Get out, very short. They don't need to get, to think about who's next. Give it Mahdi and that's it. Wait out for Mahdi. Other, also, you see when Al-Hasan, when he gave the Khilafah to Muawiyah, Al-Hasan ibn Ali has two sons, Al-Hussein, and he had also Muhammad. Some of them give bay'ah to Al-Hussein, some give bay'ah to Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah. So many examples to see how much they divide themselves. Also, one of the examples, التشيع also as an idea has very extreme personals appear in the Shi'a's history. Such as a man, his name al-Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid al-Thaqafi. This man said, I'm the Imam. Not from Ahl al-Bayt, I'm the Imam. And he said, God sent revelation to me. And he said, they told him, how come you are not from the families? He said, no. Part of the God enter Ali, and then after the transfer to somebody else, then transfer to me. So I became from the family by reincarnation. Also, كان له سجع كسجع الكهان مع أنه كان له بداية في الجهاد وكذا. هذا المختار. Also the Shi'ah, they don't accept him as a leader. They said he's kafir, he's out of Islam. And Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, he's the one who stand before him. When he died, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, his name Abdullah Abu Hashim, the name of the son of Muhammad al-Hanafiyyah, he also has another extreme. He came and he said a new things in the Shia. He said there is secrets, numbers. And there is hidden meanings. He said, for example, number 12 has a secret meanings. And he said number 12 is a very special number, and whoever use it, he will win. Therefore, he said we have to have only 12 leaders, 12 branch, and so on. And he died 97. Also after that, a man, his name Bayan ibn Sam'an, he became a leader of Shi'ah. He's another extreme. He said that he's part of the God also, again, a'udhu billah. And he said, he's the one who said that part of the God, which is came in Ali, transferred to him, not al-Mukhtar. I'm sorry, Mukhtar said he is only a prophet. Only. Anyway. It's a mess. طيب. And Bayan, this guy, he said, I am Imam. And Allah said that in the Quran. He said, did you read هذا بيان للناس? Allah said about the Quran, this is bayan. Yani bayan, you know bayan? I'm sure you know bayan. Bayan للناس وهدى وموعظة للمتقين. He said this is my name mentioned in the Quran. And this is a big lie. He had a friend of his name al-Mughira ibn Sa'id al-Ijli. And this Mughira, he came with another number. He said there is a secret about this number, 7. And to know, yani up to today, those people who come up with, oh, this number has special meanings, all of them, this is the roots. Anyway, Khalid ibn al-Qasri, also, he killed both of these two people, and he killed them, rahimahullah ta'ala. A lot of them came and they claimed that they are gods or they are prophets and they have their own mi'raj. They went to the sky, like this guy, Abu Mansur al-Ijli. He has a big group in Shi'ah called al-Mansuriyah. They claim that he is a prophet and God, wipe in his head, and he said, go down to the earth, you are my prophet. And he called him Kisaf. And he said, I'm the one who mentioned in the Quran, وَإِن يَرَوْا كِسَفًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ ساقطة. Anyway, also you have Abu Khattab al-Asdi. He has a big group, it's called al-Khattabiyya. And after him, Muhammad ibn Nasir, the one who established al-Nusayriyya, al-Nusayriyin, al-Alawiyin, the one now in Syria. Also al-Batiniyya, al-Ismailiyya, Maymun al-Qaddah. All these extreme groups come from the Shi'ah, the idea itself. Because the idea opened the gate for this extremism to be exist. Just to show how much difference happened to this sect and how much they've been gone astray from the truth toward the kufr.
Please proceed to next CD.